It's the PokerNews Podcast.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 846th episode of the PokerNews Podcast. I am Chad Holloway at Level 9 Studio in Las Vegas, joined by Kyna England and somebody very special on the show, the PokerNews ambassador for Pennsylvania, one Keith Becker, streamer extraordinaire. Keith, thanks for taking the time.
Absolutely. Super happy to be here.
We got a lot to talk about. The WSOP Main Event is happening right now. As we're recording this, it's day 5, which is, to me, like, yesterday was all right, this is heating up, the bubble burst, and we're going to talk a lot about the bubble. We're going to talk about a very controversial hand that happened. But right now, day 5 is where, to me, it gets, like, super serious. The money is starting to jump. You can see the end, if you will, right? Like, as we're recording this, there's about 360 players left. Yeah, that's still a big field, but that's a lot closer than the 10,110, 112? Let me look that up. There's a record. I got to memorize this now.
69 more than last year. I do know that.
See, that's the easy way to remember. 10,112. So how are you guys feeling? Are you feeling the excitement? There's still a lot of big names left. Keith, what about you? You've been at the WSOP here the last few days.
Yeah, this is my first time. The tension and the excitement is definitely there. I think for me in a tournament, when I'm playing the goalpost move where I'm like, okay, under 400 people left, I've won tournaments this size before, you know what I mean? Disregarding the fact that there are absolute super pros and crushers remaining. And we'll talk about some of the big names, I'm sure, that are still in there. But yeah, the excitement was definitely there. I was not in the room during the bubble burst. I was over playing the 1K mystery bounty. But yeah, I'm sure it was crazy. I know those bubbles, they get intense.
Yeah. It's a special feeling. Like we're going to show some photos of it here in a minute, but you see people just crowded around the table, hundreds of cameras out. You know, it is a very special moment. Let's talk about a hand that happened. This was, I believe, this was during the day 3 dinner break, right before the day 3 dinner break. This was the day before the money bubble burst. It was a pretty controversial hand, and my colleague Connor Richards came over and told me what happened, and he's like, should we do something about this? Basically what it was folded around to a player on the button, Rainy Bube, or something like that. I'm butchering that name in the proud tradition of the PokerNews Podcast. And the small blind folded, and then it was on the big blind, who flashed his hand like Jack Deuce. You know, it flashed it in such a way kind of where, like, you know how we've done this 100 times. You take it like, oh, look, I woke up with nothing.
I have nothing. Oh, hey, you win kind of thing, yeah.
And so then the button, tosses his hand into the muck thinking he's about to win the pot. But he did it before the big blind actually mucked his cards. Right. And so the big blind's like, well, I've got the only active live hand. Give me that pot.
Yeah.
And technically by the rules, he's not wrong.
Right.
I would have thought that when you isn't like when you show your hand is dead though. Like in some instances, that's been a ruling like that I've heard before.
I think so I was there, and I think that's correct.
Yeah,
and that was where I sort of was like, is this the right ruling? But I think because the button mucked his card so prematurely that the floor then didn't have a choice. Where I think they would have killed the big blind's hand, like in a few seconds or whatever, or once they realized what was happening, but it just happened so fast, and then he had the only live hand, and so I don't know.
Yeah, it seems like a dusty angle, but like
it is.
The funniest.
I hate it, but
well, and the guy, according to the article in the tweets, that guy did get a 1-round penalty. But the funniest part of the story is that Tom, I forget his last name,
Zanet.
Tom Zanet, posted on Twitter that he stood up for the guy because the guy didn't speak English very well. He didn't know what was going on, and he made a big scene. And that sounds like some shit I would do, like just give it to the floor. What a garbage ruling! Are you kidding? And then Tom got a 1-round penalty too.
Yeah, and he was
that's hilarious to me.
He was actually getting emotional on behalf of the other player. It was actually kind of like wholesome to see because he was like defending this other player, saying like, no, this player's not getting treated fairly, and trying to stand up for him in this case.
Well, I work some, sources, some contacts, as I'm prone to do at the World Series of Poker, and actually have some video footage of this little confrontation. This took place right before the floorman came over and kind of said, everybody, come on, cameras down. And we always abide by that. But you're going to get to see the tenseness of this situation. Take a look.
You put all in with Jack 3.
Here, smile. Smile.
You put all in this Jack 3? You put all in Jack 3 or no?
You can give him the 2.5 big blinds, or you'll ruin your reputation. Or you will ruin your reputation for the rest of your life, sir. That's your 2 options. He did not just table his hand. He showed it to this guy.
Le mec, il monte ses cartes et il a dit, j'ai rien dit, frère. Il m'a montré ses cartes, il a montré ses cartes, j'ai fait.
He opens the button, the big blind shows him his cards. He folds, and this guy's trying to take the pot.
Everybody calm down. We're putting the phones away?
Yep.
All right, so there you have it. I mean, pretty passionate there by Tom Zanet, who, I mean, I don't disagree. It's kind of a scummy behavior from the big blind for 4.5 bigs. Granted, you know, they're short. It is the main event, and maybe the mentality is I'm going to do whatever it takes to win. But look, that player's reputation is kind of tarnished by that, right? Like,
Yeah, imagine if that was everywhere.
Imagine
too.
if that was Men the Master Win who did that in that situation.
I don't know if your video caught this, but the one player leaving the table, the one who was not awarded the pot and maybe should have been the successful angle or whatever you want to call it, was then like, I'm gonna bust you. Like he was like, I'm coming for you.
Did that guy make it? I don't even know.
I don't know the end result, but yeah, there was some heatedness.
Yeah, I unfortunately don't know how it all went down after that. You know, it was the dinner break. I think things cooled off a little bit.
Sure.
But still, pretty controversial hand there. Interesting, Zanet won a $6.4 million Pygao progressive jackpot from the Flamingo here
He's
in
the
Vegas.
Pygao guy.
I saw that.
In January 2023. Like, that's more than second place money we'll pay in the main event this year.
Yeah,
Insane.
I remember when that fiasco happened too. Like, it was like a Saturday night, and I was at dinner with like my Vegas family out here, and my friends are like, "We need to go play. We need to go play." I'm like, "I have to go. I have to go to Planet Hollywood. The progressive is at 6.4 million." They're like, "Go, go!" Like I was actually going to win it, you know. But I mean, there were a lot of poker players that went out for that when it was like a plus EV thing, you know, just go play Pygao. Super fun. Good job, Tom.
Let's talk about another interesting hand, and that is the bubble hand. It's always a very big moment in the World Series of Poker main event. It's a moment we always want to capture at PokerNews. We say we can't miss the bubble. Likewise, PokerGo is always there filming it. This year, there was 1,517 players who made the money. So it gets down to, I don't know, 1,525 players or something. You know, many players out of the money to do hand for hand because there's a lot of stalling and tanking and things like that. And then it actually gets down to the bubble. I think it took 4 hands of hand for hand play. The first one, there was like 2 people all in. The short stacks doubled. Kind of the same thing in the next, and so on and so forth.
Well,
but
one of the hands there were like 6 all-ins. They were calling.
so that
I was
was the
watching
one.
it on
Yeah,
coverage.
that was the fourth round of hand for hand play,
Okay.
and 6 all ins. So you're thinking, all right, surely somebody's going to
Just
bust.
play the odds. Someone's gonna get out here. Yeah.
There was some interesting ones there. David ODB Baker had ace queen, and somebody put him to the test for like $350K too with ace 5. Baker survives that one. Then there was a couple other ones that were. Let me see. I got the article pulled up. I want to make sure I get this. There were 2 big ones that transpired. One was a 7-bet pot. Free flop.
This is the one that I've seen everywhere.
Yeah, for 120 bigs. I mean, the hand's got to be what in this spot? We actually debated this, me, Mike Holtz, and Joe Stapleton, about some hands. Like, you would think, how can you bust the main event in the very first hand? This is the hand you would think, aces versus kings or something.
Yeah.
Right? So this was pretty
Or
straightforward.
aces versus aces, even.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, and 4 flush or something.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
Which happened in the $1 million buy-in one drop back in 2012. I was there reporting it, standing on the main stage, seeing the hands tabled. And I remember standing up, I was all by myself, and I looked at it and said, oh, this is going to be a chop pot. But how sick would it be if it 4-flushed in $1 million buy-in tournament? And sure enough, it happened.
Crazy.
And still one of the worst bad beats. So 120 bigs in this pot. And kings were snap called by Marcello Tadao Aziz Jr.'s 8 pocket aces. The board ran out clean. And Reeves, his name was, let's see, what was his first name? Doesn't look like we put it. So Reeves is known, is one of the bubble boys. But then there's also another hand where Terrence Reed, TJ Reed, former PokerNews reporter, works in the poker media. He had 8-3. He opened from middle position with 8-3 suited. And then a guy named Stratmeyer jammed for $57,000 with ace king.
$1,000?
57,000 chips. Yeah. Amateur rookie mistake. And the 8-3 ended up getting there. So there we had 2 bust outs.
Yeah.
They split the money, $7,500 a piece, right? Because one of them would have moved up to $1,500 in 18th place or whatever it was. But then there's a tradition. It's not very well publicized, but the bubble of the main event gets a buy into the next
entry next year, right?
Yeah.
But do you know what happens when
They
two
drew.
people-
I didn't until this
Yeah.
happened. I didn't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think last year there were 3 people or something, and didn't they like play like they played a hand out or
They
something
played
like
just a flip or something,
Yeah,
but with pockets.
I think
yeah.
I think that's what they did. But then this year they just drew cards. Yeah, because it was taking so long too. I think they wanted to like kind of hurry up and get it done with.
Yeah. All right. We actually have video of both of those. So we're going to show the bubble hand first. This is the one Aces versus Kings 7-bet, and follow it up with the high card draw that was between, and I found it, Lucas Reeves, not just
Lucas
Reeves, and Christian Stratmeyer. Check it out.
All right, so we're going to draw high cards. So I want you to spread the deck. I want you to pick the best card. You can decide who wants to go first. He said, I'm going to go first. Why not? There we go. Jack of Hearts. You got to beat the Jack of Hearts. Deuce of Hearts. Jack of Hearts got a seat next year. Congratulations.
All right, so there you have it. Stratmeyer gets it done, draws a jack, and that's good enough.
He actually ended up getting more than a min cash then, like because he got 7,000 whatever to split the 15K, and then he gets the 10K seat. So he actually won like $17,000.
That's actually a good point.
Right. Yeah.
And it's a nice little consolation prize,
Yeah.
right? To be able to play the main next year. I think the guy who bubbled last year, so he got in this year, he made another deep run, but fell just short of the money again.
Aww.
So
It's my one friend and I. We always talk about like the strange ways you can run good in poker, and this is just another way you got to win your flips. You you just hope you run good when you end up in that situation, and it's a pure flip. And
Yeah, you
someone
win.
wins
You
and
win a
someone
flip,
doesn't.
and you actually make more money than a really good portion of the field did.
right, right.
Well, let's take a look at the main event payouts, right? So the money bubble was there. Everybody was guaranteed $15,000. As I said, we're recording this on day 5 when there are about 350 players remaining, $45,000 guaranteed for all those players. But of course, everybody's eyeing up, making the final table where the 7-figure prizes await. WSOP did it a little different this year. If you recall, last year they were really pushing for the record, and so they got it, the record-setting field then of 10,043 runners. But they also wanted it to be the largest payday ever, beating the 12 million of Jamie Gold from 2006. So I think they made it 12.1 million or something like that. The first place this year is 10 million, but as a result, you've got not quite as big of a jump between second and first. You got all 7-figure payouts at the final table, and then you just get some better payouts leading up to that, if you
I
will.
think that's a little nicer. Like it's a little nicer distribution. Like you make the final table, you win $1 million. That's exciting, you know?
Yeah, I think so too.
I think it's been way better received from players
Yeah.
that I've seen, like across
Lots
the
of good
board.
tweets, lots of
Yeah.
good, you know, yeah.
Yeah, and you only like to get a 6-figure score, 100,000. They've changed it now. 125th place,
Oh, wow.
which is not. I mean, it's not easy to do by any means, but like that's a nice return on investment if you bust in 125th place, 10 times your buy-in.
Right.
And one of the things too, people were saying, well, isn't it supposed to be double the buy-in nowadays at the WSOP for a min cash? I would say this. Yes, that should be the case in re-entry tournaments, right? Because if you're going to fire twice, you want to at least break even if you cash.
Sure, okay.
Main event's a little different because it is a freeze out. You're going to get 5,000 more on top of it, which has great tax implications, as Kyna knows.
Right.
Right.
Yes. No W2Gs.
W2G. I saw that was a strategic
Yeah.
choice maybe on their part.
Exactly.
And it's a lot of
Reading about
people to account for, like to be writing W2Gs for, you know,
True.
like, yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, almost 300 spots pay out that 15,000. So plus, you're most likely these people who are cashing the main event. Like I want to cash the main event. I've never done it, and I've played 5 times now. And if I cash for 15,000, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the 10,000 part of that and set it aside for next year because I'm going to come back and play it next year and then go spend 5K. So I think when they do this sort of thing, they're just it feeds into the next year in this cycle. So the main event's a little bit different where usually I'm an advocate for like the 10 to 12 payout range, but the main event I'm happy with 15 or even a little higher.
Yeah, it makes sense when it's not a re-entry too. You make a good point. And it's not like the bounties were the same way too, because the bounty prize pool, they weren't quite two times the buy-in. So
yeah. I mentioned the top payouts in the main event, 12.1 for Daniel Weinman last year, which did beat Jamie Gold's record the year before. And then in 2022 and 2019, Espen Jorstad and Hossein Ensan each got 10 million for their win, which is what the winner will get this year. So there is some consistency there, which I do like about the main event.
Nothing to scoff at. Nice 10 million. It's okay. We don't have to complain that it's not 12.
And then, of course, the winner is going to get the nice bracelet, which they did a good reveal of.
Oh, it's so pretty, yeah.
So
with
beautiful.
Much better than this one.
A lady, like I said it last year too, because it was so freaking pretty. I was like, a lady needs to own this bracelet. It's just it's too pretty. You know, it's shiny, it's full of diamonds, whatever, and it's just too pretty. You know, a lady should win.
Has
it this
anyone
year.
ever taken a bracelet and turned it into like a necklace or something something
maybe.
more
So,
interesting? in that way?
yes, Robert Varconi famously took his main event bracelet from 2002. Speaking of which, he cashed this main event, which we'll talk about. But he took his bracelet, and for his wife, he had some links removed and turned into a pair of earrings. And believe it or not, that inspired me. This bracelet here was a little big when I won it. And so I asked the jewelers who designed these back then if they could take a couple links out, which they did. And then I found a jeweler back in Wisconsin who turned them into a pair of earrings for my mom, who wear them on occasion. So,
First of all, wholesome as fuck, Chad. And second of all, more crazy trivia from Chad on poker. Back in 2002.
I'm going to have to now message my mom to send me a picture of the so I can insert that
Splice it
into
into the podcast. Yeah.
Kind of, you mentioned like a woman winning the bracelet, which would of course be huge. And there are some sweats today.
There are. I mean, we know Maria Ho is out. She just recently busted. But Chrissy B, wouldn't be surprised. Kristen Foxen making runs. Like, would be sick for her to make the final table there. I'm not sure, is Lonnie still in? She had a good stack, but I know I saw her. She got a little short.
The PokerNews Podcast, she is not, unfortunately. She busted, it looks like, in 417th place or therearabouts. Let me check in on Kristen. She's got 1.3 million as we're recording this, so
what
she's
about,
still there.
Dragana, too? She made the deep run a few years ago, too. And
she's still in there,
she's
according
bold.
to the updates.
She made some sicko bluff, I remember, too, like a couple years ago when she was in it deep. So good luck to those ladies. And good luck to all the ladies. Good luck to all the people. But, you know, I know it's just something that people have been wanting to see for a while. A lady make the final table. It would be exciting. I think it would be good for poker. I will push my way in there and root for you if it happens.
Yeah,
so
it would be electric.
I need the PokerNews credentials here. Press, let me through.
Right. Yeah.
There's no doubt, you know, women making the final table of the main event, let alone winning it, would just have a huge impact of the game, right?
Yeah.
I actually messaged you earlier, Keith, because I went through the Citra. By my count, at the start of day 5, there were 9 players remaining from Pennsylvania. You are, of course, our Pennsylvania ambassador for PokerNews, so I'm like, keep an eye on these guys.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great list. I love to see Pennsylvania representing. I think there's a lot of crushers in that list. One I'd like to particularly call out, who I think has been very impressive lately, is Justin Vaisman. If he is to make the final table, he will have some footage to be replayed over and over because he was down to, I think, like 4 big blinds on the Poker Go podcast, and he's spun it up. He studies with a coach that I've worked with in Pennsylvania. His name is Schwibs. He's a Pennsylvania reg and great coach. And I've got a investment in like seeing him do well. Not really investment, but I didn't buy a piece or anything.
No, he's your friend though. Yeah, I mean,
he's a
community.
friend and acquaintance and in the community. So he's put in the work. I think from what I understand and what I've heard and what I've seen, he's really put in the work to study and improve. So.
Ben Wang is from Pennsylvania too, and he's
is he still in crushing it?
Let me see. I actually wanted to bet. I was in the PokerNews office, and this was like at the beginning of day 4. I saw Ben Wang was still in, and he had some chips, and I told my buddies, I said, like, what kind of odds will you give me that he makes the final table? Like, we're still 1,000 players away, but this guy is just running so hot.
He's a live animal. Yeah,
and
live
he
poker
is
animal.
still in, according to the updates. Looks like he's a little bit short stacked, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him spin that up.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. So many big. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, no, you're good.
I was going to say it's going to be so exciting just with all these big names still left in to see who actually does it. Like Phil Ivey's still in. Is Tom Dwan still in?
Let's see. I want to check, make sure
just
both of them.
I mean, huge names.
Yeah,
you know,
these guys
still
just
in
making
it.
day 5 was So Ivey is still cruising in there. And let's see, Dwan is not in. It doesn't look like. It looks like he might have busted yesterday, actually. Let me see. Yeah, he did bust in 593rd place, but that was pretty exciting to see Dwan making a run at this thing.
He I didn't actually see the hand, but I read at least on Reddit that apparently he was on the receiving end of like a crazy no pair, no draw bluff where someone just was like trying to put a move on Chan, go after Tom Dwan and pick the wrong time. He just had the nuts. Yeah.
Well, let me look over the list of the payouts here and call out a few of the people who did end up cashing this tournament. I believe there were 5 former main event champions who ended up cashing this one. Robert Varconi was one of them. He finished in 852nd place for $25K. It's interesting because, like, could you pick Robert Varconi out of a lineup?
No.
And most people can.
2002, you said,
Well,
right?
Aaron Baroni had that story where he was trying to he thought he was giving tournament advice to a casual, and he was talking to Robert.
I read that story. That was actually hilarious. He's like, "What do you think about the main event?" Well, here's what I would do.
Yeah.
They're just at the gym, right? Like working out. Even and I know Robert Varconi well. I've interviewed him. His look has changed obviously in the last 22 years, and it is hard to pick him out of a crowd. So he did go pretty deep. The other, and want to take any guesses as to who the other former main event champs were?
Well, I saw Korai was still in there. I don't know if he's busted.
Korai, he busted in 598th place for 32.5. So he was.
So Weinman was in pretty deep as well, right?
Yep, he was the defending champ. So it's always exciting when the defending champ.
Back to back would be insane.
Yeah, and then he cashed at 1357th place, 15K. So a min cash, but still pretty good showing. I think my good friend Tim Duckworth at Poker Go said it is the I want to say 16th time the former champ, the reigning champ, went on to cash the following year.
Wow.
Interesting stat. I like that.
Yeah, something like that. So Tim is the stat man over there.
Yeah.
So. Espen Jorstad was another one who ended up cashing. He took, let's see if I can pull it up. He ended up, maybe he didn't. Let me see.
Oh, sick needle,
no,
Chad.
I just think it's on the second page. They got 2 pages.
Sorry, Espen.
He did 1,393rd place.
Okay, good job. Good job.
And then
Who else?
Scott Blumstein
Oh.
ended up cashing, and he took, let's see if I can find this one, 1,137th place. So not any huge deep runs of former main event champs, but still pretty good. Daniel Negreanu got in on a min cash, and that was fun to watch on his vlog.
Are any of them still in? Any former main event champs?
No.
I think Weinman was the last one that busted.
Varconi.
Or Varconi,
yeah.
Okay. All right.
Some other people who did cash this tournament, though, famous actor Kevin Pollak.
Yeah, he was on this. He was on the feature table for a little bit too, and he made some nitty fold with Jax, and everybody's giving him crap in the chat. It's like, man, just wants to cash. Leave him alone. You know.
Yeah, he finished in 1,212th place for 17.5, so laddered up a little bit. Angela Jordanson.
Angela, good job, Angela. I know she got a dirty beat again. She took a dirty beat at that seniors table, and then she took another dirty beat again, like aces versus like king queen suited. But still, it happens. Sorry, Angela. Good run.
If you had to handicap a female to make the main event final table, I think she's always going to be right up there,
up in your top tier.
Speaking of too, my friend Kit Kat is still in. Kit Kat. Klassen.
Oh yeah,
yeah. She's into running deep. So go Kit Kat, go.
Yeah. So we got some female sweats, which would be great. Let me pull up and look over Tony Nardi, a guy out of Wisconsin that I know. He cashed in 1,108th place. Wing Po Lu, WSOP bracelet winner and a 25K fantasy draft guy we just talked about. Yeah. Colby Covington, UFC fighter.
Oh yeah, that was exciting. He was on the feature table a little bit too.
Yeah, he finished in 1,077th place. So you get some celebrity names in there. Robbie Jade Liu was 1,061st place. John Duthie right behind her in 1,060th. He's the founder of the EPT. It was interesting because I walked the field yesterday, and I just was impressed by the sheer amount of big names that were still in.
That's what I was going to say. I don't have the overall historical, wide view that maybe you do, Chad, but it feels to me, and I don't know if this is just variance or if it's the effect of study and solvers, slanting the field towards it, but it feels like there's more poker pedigree, succeeding at this WSOP than I've seen before. I don't know. It just feels like every event has big names in the end of it. It's just stacked.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, and I'm thinking kind of too, at least at my table, the level of play on just from day one out of the get-go was damn, these these
People are
players are
bringing
good.
it.
Yeah. I didn't get, I mean, like, I didn't know anybody at my table, but then I made Chad look everybody up, and it looked like just like some pretty decent players. And, you know, you sometimes in the day one of the main, you just see some like really large opens, some like really weird sizing. It wasn't like that this time.
Right.
Yeah.
Ethan Rampage Yao, 942nd place. I want to, it's hard here. I'm literally scrolling through hundreds of names.
Arden Cho make a cash, or she's still in?
She probably did. Let me see.
I thought I saw she was still in this morning. This morning.
I got the Poker News updates right. See, Arden Cho, not still in. At least not in the chip counts right now. So Mikio Aoki, another female player. She used to be from Wisconsin, now Montana, 864th place. Let me skip ahead here to, I think we came back today, day 5 with,
It was like 400 and something.
Yeah, right. We'll say right around 400. So I'm going to go to the top 400 in the payouts right here and talk about some of the people who have fallen more recently here. So Adam Friedman, 416th place. So I know he came back today. He was short stack. So let's go.
TJ busted, I think, too, or did he?
He busted yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah. He was, of course, involved in the bubble hand that we had just mentioned.
Yeah.
Nick Palma, 386th place. Jans Arens, 384th. Josh Reichard.
Josh. Too hard, Josh.
377th place. Came back with a decent stack. We've talked a lot we talked a lot about Josh on this show because he won the WPT Seminole Hard Rock right before the series started over at the Luxor. They were doing the final tables. So we had Josh's face I wore the t-shirt.
Yeah.
And then Josh he's from Wisconsin, best player from Wisconsin, hands down, and just a friend of ours because we're both from the Midwest.
Gotcha.
And interesting, I don't know if you read Poker News' story, him and my good friend and former Poker News reporter, Mo Nuwwarah, Josh picked him up from the airport. They went to a nearby restaurant. Their car got broken into, backpack stolen. Not even shitting you. I literally have a replacement backpack in my truck outside the studio to take to Mo later. But they both made day 5 today.
Yeah.
Wow.
Talk about just like karma, right?
Yeah.
And they were at the same table.
Yes,
They were at the same table together.
Wild.
Yeah.
That's wild.
So good job. Good job, guys.
Way to go.
But Josh is out, so now it's on Mo. I think he's playing in his first. Well, fuck. I just refreshed the updates, and literally it's Mo busting.
Oh, no. Did we do that? Did we do that?
we just
Sorry,
jinx
Mo.
Mo?
Sorry.
Oh, Mo.
The podcast rail of death.
I know. Oh, no. Don't talk about anyone else. Wait, who do we hate?
Shut it down. Shut it down.
So according to the updates, Mo raised to 55K under the gun, 2 callers, and then Carlos Caldas 3-bet to 280K in the big blind. Mo then moved all in. He was down to 1.1 million. He had 2 8s, and Caldas called with 2 queens, and the queens held up. So sorry.
Well, nice run, guys. Nice run.
Yeah. 2 of my favorites, and they still got some nice cashes out of it. And
there you go.
What place did he get? 3?
I don't know yet because they haven't updated the. But it looks like he's going to get at least 368th place, which is 40K. Probably more because these haven't been updated for a while here.
Right.
But well, shit. We get so excited about Momo going deep, and then I refresh. But
well, still lots of heroes in there to root for, I guess.
there are. Let me go to some of the names at the top of the chip counts right now. Now, of course, when this comes out, it's going to be day 6 of the main event, so we won't know if these people are still in.
Is Donald Trump still at the top with 69 million?
Donald Trump is out.
Ronald McDonald.
Ronald McDonald's out.
We can't say. I don't even know if we can say some of the names on there.
What Kyna is referring to is the people who have been having very much fun putting in some fake MyStack names.
This is why we can't have nice things.
It's fun though. It's funny, and I think it only happened a few times, so it's not like it got bombarded too much.
We catch it pretty quick.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to, I won't tell you how you. I was just about to tell them the trick on how to sneak, but no, I'm not going to do that. Steven Song, he came into day 5 as the chip leader. He's still up there in chips. Adrian Mateos.
Yes, I saw those guys were 1 and 2
1
when
and
I
2.
last looked.
That's sick, dude.
And that's what I'm talking about. The poker pedigree, at the top of these tournaments.
You don't usually see that, just chip leaders being well-known people,
right. Just because of variance and law of large numbers in these kind of fields. It's impressive.
Yeah, David Prosiak is still in there. Matt Stout. We have Alex Keating, Joe Sirac, Alejandro Lococo out of Argentina, who made 2 deep runs a few years ago. He's a rapper out of there, a Poker Stars pro.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Ren Lin, 25K fantasy
Lady
guy.
Gaga.
Team Lady Gaga. They're Daniel Hashem, the son of Joe Hashem.
Yes.
How cool would that be?
That's
That would
pretty
be
impressive.
So cool.
There's this is what I love about the main event is there's so many names and there's so many storylines that can happen. And we'll just have to wait and see. As I said, by the time this comes out, it's going to be day 6, which I don't know what it will be down to at that point. Probably under 200 players would be my guess. And we'll just have to wait and see. I want to give a shout out to my friend and fellow Wisconsinite, Larry Ormston, who ended up busting. He ground a short stack all the way to 454th place for $37,500. So I always love Larry and love to give him a shout out. So
Congrats, Larry.
well, there is more to the World Series of Poker than just the main event. Right? There are bracelet winners that have started to happen, and one was a pretty big name in Chance Kornuth.
Yes.
Taking down his 4th bracelet in the $1,000 flip and go, which we talked a lot about last episode.
Yeah,
Kyna.
no fair. Chance already has a bracelet.
Right.
Well, this was one I noticed, like these guys who are in contention for the POI, they were going to fire until they made day 2.
Yeah.
Right. Alan Kessler's not a big fan of it. He's like, oh, they're buying a bracelet or what have you.
Right.
Not sure if I agree with that take. I don't mind this event, but there is a argument to be made. The more money you have, like Scott Seaver fired, what did we say, 43 times or something last year, the year before?
It certainly benefits deep pockets. I think I can see that argument. Yeah.
Did either of you take a flip?
No, but one of my friends did, and she got a video of Jamie Kerstetter. She played, and she said she was playing the last one that they had available, and it was closed, and Scott Seaver won that one.
Oh, wow.
Now, I feel like I don't really ball that hard. I would want to have maybe the budget to do 3 or 4 flips if I was going to do it, and just played other things instead.
Yeah. I've never done it myself, but I did keep on top of it. And of course, Chance Kornuth coming out on top for his, I believe, 4th bracelet and $155,000. So congratulations to him. He is, the founder of Chip Leader Coaching, works with Alex Fox in there, one of the best training sites in the game. I believe he and his wife and his family relocated out of Vegas to, I want to say Nashville.
In Tennessee,
Yeah. And he's still outside of poker during the World Series of Poker. He really focuses on family and building his business, which I think is very respectful. Instead of, I don't know, like it's always like Adam Friedman told me, and of course he's out of the main event, but yesterday I said, hey, if you win this, and he said, if I win this, you'll never see me again. And I'm like, I respect that.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
I like it when somebody finds success in poker and then does something with it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think there's got to be added EV for Chance too as a coach. Winning a bracelet, and got to maybe move some coaching subscriptions. I've heard good things about Chip Leader Coaching, and I love the winners photo. Did you see the nose strip winners photo?
I think he was giving out
the
hoodies too, or something on Twitter. I don't know if he was giving them out or like offering a discount to buy the Chip Leader hoodies or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, we actually got a winner's interview with Chance shortly after his victory. Here it is.
All right, here with Chance Kornuth, winner of the 1K Flip and Go. Chance, you came close to a bracelet earlier this summer. How does it feel to finally close it out and get your first No Limit Hold'em live bracelet win?
Honestly, it feels really good. I've made a pile of final tables without a W, and even though it's a smaller one, it feels incredible.
Speaking of the final table, it was very up and down. You got the chip lead, and then Leia doubled through you. How were you able to kind of keep your emotions and keep your cool, given that it was so turbo-y and playing very shallow?
I think that's just kind of an experience thing. If you really just think about, I had so many chips, like it's irrelevant. Like I still have 25 big blinds with 3 left or 4 left in a bracelet event. It's amazing. So I think perspective and framing is really important.
All right, congratulations to Chance Kornuth on that victory. A few other bracelet winners that have happened in the past few days. There was event number 83, which was the 1,500 8-game mix 6-handed 494 runners, and it was Garth Yettick defeating Josh Arieh in heads-up play to win that one for $131,000. Miami John Cernuto, who is nominated for the Poker Hall of Fame, which will be announced in just a few days, maybe in time for next week's episode, but he finished in 3rd for $57,000. There was also event number 84, the $600 Ultra Stack No Limit Hold'em, which I may have had a few drinks after busting the main and then went and fired my max 3 bullets on day 1A of this. Came close to a cash, but ultimately didn't. 6,628 runners was won by Carsten Heidemann. First ever bracelet, $343,000. And I believe he busted the main event, did what I did, went and registered this thing, and then obviously wins the
Good turnout
the
for
tournament.
him, yeah.
Like,
should have been you, Chad. Should have been you.
I wish, but yeah, he takes that one down. And then finally, there was the 5K 8-handed no limit hold'em. This was a big one, 1,041 runners, and it had a prize pool of almost $4.8 million. Was won by Matthew Alsante, defeating Punant Punsri in heads-up play for $785,000. Patrick Leonard, 8th place in this one for $82K. I was really excited for this one because, as we'll talk in our 25K fantasy update in just a little bit here, we had Punsri on our team, and it made a big difference. But we'll save that for now, because what I want to talk about is you, Keith. You are the Poker News ambassador for Pennsylvania, but not only that, you are a presence in the streaming world. Yep. Tell the viewers and listeners a little bit about, like who you are and what it is that you do in the poker world outside World Series of Poker time.
Sure. So I've been a Twitch streamer for a long time. I got my start streaming video games. I used to stream a genre of video games called roguelites, actually. So they're a video game genre that has like a lot of overlap with poker, heavy elements of like RNG and like things like that. And so I always loved the game of poker. And when regulated poker came to the US in the form of PokerStars, I jumped on, started streaming there, worked with PokerStars for a while. And then joined PokerNews, and I've been streaming on Global Poker with PokerNews. So I keep very, very busy. I'm not a full-time poker pro nor a full-time poker content creator. I have a full-time job where I work 8 to 5. I also have a 5-year-old daughter. Uh-huh. And so I'm pretty wall-to-wall in terms of working, creating content, spending time with my daughter whenever I can, and yeah, I'm living a pretty charmed life. I'm loving working for Poker News. Global Poker's been a fantastic partner, and I try not to take my stream too seriously. I get pretty clowny on the stream. I'm not very I don't have time to study, frankly. so I have to sort of I definitely compare myself to others unfairly who have so much more time than I do to get better at the game, but I try to keep up, and I try to grow and try to study and maximize the efficiency of my study when I can and succeed at the game. But my priority is the content, and I try to entertain people.
That's, I think, sometimes better, too. You want to watch somebody being, like, funny, not being like, well, I should raise here because I have this hand in this guy's range. You should be like, right. I'm going to jam on him because I hate him.
Right,
like,
yeah.
Well, we actually have a little clip of what you can expect from Keith's stream. Check it out.
Stack off with ace-3 for the trophy and the win. We stack off with ace-3 for the trophy and the win for back-to-back trophies and the win. Let's fucking go! Hi, baby. Hi. I didn't know you were here. Thank you. I pipped my top score by 29 sweeps. 6,029 for first place, but a second trophy, which is worth a lot.
Can we go to bed now?
Yeah, I'm going to sleep, chat. I'm gonna go to sleep, I think. I can't believe I won a tournament today. I told Casey earlier today, I said, I feel like I'm gonna pass out at any moment. These series take so much out of me, and I've been working so hard.
You did pass out before the stream.
I did sleep. I slept before the stream for like 20 minutes. Like right before the stream. Maybe that's what I need to do.
All right, so there you can see, very entertaining. I love it. I watch, and if there are people out there listening, watching that want to watch the stream or follow you, what's the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, the best place is probably Twitch. It's Accidental Grenade on Twitch. You can find me there. I also multi-stream these days on YouTube typically. But yeah, follow me on socials, Instagram, Twitter.
What's the story behind the Accidental Grenade?
So I started out with video games, like I said, and I always thought it was funny. I was having a conversation with someone about how it's ridiculous that in video games you can do something accidentally that could never happen in real life. Like you in Minecraft, you're walking by, you accidentally sleep in a bed, or like at the time we were playing like Call of Duty and you would accidentally like throw a grenade, and like you can't just like in life be like whoops and like throw it. So I picked the name, and in hindsight it's far too long for most social media, so it causes me problems. But yeah, it just sort of speaks to the fact that I said before, where I don't take myself too seriously.
Sure.
I try to be more on the entertainment side rather than the I'm so hardcore grinding kind of side. So.
Very applicable in poker too, because like, you know, you can't just like accidentally fold, but if you're like playing online, like you could accidentally click fold. Yeah. So
you mentioned you brought us something, brought a gift, or So what's
presents?
I wanted to thank you for having me on. I wanted to thank PokerNews for this opportunity. It's my first time at WSOP. I'm having a blast. I'm in no way affiliated with this person, but this is a deck of cards, a like 2-part deck of cards that I purchased from an artist, and you sent me. I was sort of inspired by you sent me a comic book that was Poker Zombies.
Yeah, my World Series of Zombies comic that I.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've never seen that.
This is a Cthulhu themed, called the Cthulhu Project.
Oh hell yeah!
Poker deck. So it's
That
got
looks cool.
a color version and a black and white version. I can send you maybe to show on the podcast a little video of like what the cards look like or something like that. But they are. That
looks badass.
Lovecraftian, eldritch art,
and the box too is
fancy
a
box.
piece of art in itself.
Box. So I mean, it could live here, or you can have it however.
That's awesome, man. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, just as a gesture of thanks. I've had the time of my life out here, and looking forward to more opportunities, hopefully like this in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been fun to have you here. Your wife is out here as well.
Yes,
she's been doing some work for PokerNews as well. So I certainly appreciate it. And before you were here, and there was actually a little overlap. And he was in the studio a few times. Kyle Anderson, the Ontario ambassador. So it was cool to get you guys out here and, all the hard work you guys do. We're at the World Series and then outside of it with Global Poker, which I might as well mention right now because the PokerNews Cup recently finished up there. And this was a 20-day festival. I know you and Kyle both were kind of like, well, shit, you want to play it, but you also have to be out here, right?
Yeah. Prior to coming here, I streamed 12 or 13 days in a row and fired so hard trying to get one of those trophies, Chad. I couldn't find one. It was like fresh. It's like a very entitled poker player mentality because I ran very good in non-series events. And I was like, not winning the tournament I want to win.
Well, one player who did win, Mr. Golden Pair, took down the Global Poker PokerNews Cup Sweep Coin Freeroll finale. And then there was also there's a Gold Cup. Gold Coin free roll finale for the PokerNews Cup, and that was Let Me Donk You a Little. A-L-I-L.
Just a little.
So a couple of winners there on Global Poker. A couple episodes ago, I showed footage from the Global Poker Party here in Vegas.
Fun time.
Yeah, always a great fun time. The people behind it are a lot of fun, and the community as a whole is what, like I get to meet them this year at this party, and like, I don't know, they all know each other's names, they know each other's stories, and you're part of that community.
There's a very home gamey feel to the Global Poker community, and I think I've said it many, many times. I think Global Poker does a great job of catering towards recreational players. Their gold coin offerings, giving like merch ladders and the same trophies as the sweeps coin, and many different things. They have more freeze outs than others. They give away more trophies than any other operator. I think a lot of other operators could learn a lot.
I want one of those rattlesnake open trophies.
Cool.
New players for Global Poker can receive 150,000 gold coins plus 30 free sweeps coins for your first $10 purchase. Go to PokerNews.com. You can check it out there and get the bonus offer. And I look forward to the next PokerNews Cup.
Yeah.
All right, last story, our traditional 25K fantasy update. Kyna, I've asked you every episode who's on top with points.
Who's on top? Jeremy Osmus.
It's Jeremy Osmus again. I don't think that's ever going to change. I also don't think the rankings are going to change too much at this point. I guess it could.
Dinkers.
Yeah, Team the Dinkers is up there. I guess the main event could change it because there is I think 3 times the points. So I may have spoken too soon, but Team the Dinkers has been on top for so long. 200-point lead over second place Team Sternheimer, who has a 200-point lead over the third place team, Team Baker. And this is where it gets more interesting because the top 4 spots pay, and the battle for third and fourth is pretty tight there. So we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. I do want to mention, though, the ODB fantasy team. 70 spots.
I heard someone's team is doing better these days.
70 spots get paid. We were sitting around 130th. And then last night, as I mentioned, Punant Punzri went down to second place in that 5K, got us a bunch of points, and all of a sudden we've jumped up to 69th place.
Nice.
Literally one spot inside the money. So
are you like Johnny refreshing these spots? Are you clicking like I am in fantasy football?
We are sweating the updates because we do have David Prosiak, we do have Christy Foxon in the main event still, and like I said, there's big points there. We have some other people returning in other events. Our team we are very happy with, but it could go either way, right? Like if these people perform, we could jump up into, I don't know, 30th place, maybe even better, and actually make more than a min cash. Or we could, if they don't and other people do, like we could fall out of it. We're just on that money bubble, and to min cash is $1,000. So come on.
Guess we'll see next week when we do an update again.
Exactly. And I've got updates every day at PokerNews.com. There's a 25K fantasy tab up at the top of the homepage. Every day I'm updating the leaderboards, and I am also going through the Poker News updates and finding the sweats, right? I'm saying, all right, here are the 25K fantasy players who are still remaining in this event, and then you can also go to 25kfantasy.com where that crew has unlimited stats. It's actually quite a fun site. So if you care about fantasy poker, go over there and check it out. All right, that is pretty much...
Hold on. Oh? We have to talk about your thrift store find.
Oh, yes.
He did buy it, obviously.
Yeah. So after last episode, I stopped at a thrift store and I saw this. It's like it's what you drink out of. There's a place for a straw there.
Oh, I thought it was like a cookie
I did
jar.
not realize
it could be. And
it's meant for like a margarita.
Yeah, drink your wine out of that.
Those of you listening and can't see this, it's like a replica of the Paris, like the balloon outside the Paris Hotel here in Vegas where the World Series of Poker is taking place. So I said, you know what? I'm going to buy this. I'm going to put it on the Poker News podcast table, and it'll be a good little prop. You want to guess how much I paid for this?
Ooh.
$7.
She's pretty damn good. I think it was $6.99.
Wow. I didn't even get to guess you were so good.
Yeah, I was like...
It looks like it holds alcohol. I mean, that's my forte, so...
You might have to start drinking out of that.
Not playing prices right with you. Jeez.
So yeah, that will be on the Poker News podcast table. Most times we switch it out, depending on who's here. When Mike's here, he gets his trolls out and thing.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, he should be here. Should be gnomes. I guess they're gnomes. Right?
But that's better. I like that they're trolls now.
I mean, that's what he likes
Mike
to
and
do.
his trolls.
Well, that's going to do it for this episode. But we got a week left of the World Series. 1 week from right now, it will be over. We'll have a main event champion. We'll have a Poker Hall of Famer. We're going to know it all. We're going to do a show here right after to wrap up, the WSOP as a whole. Talk about all the highlights, the big storylines, the player of the year, all that jazz. And that's only a week away, which is crazy. But there are still poker events taking place between now and then. There's one more. What people don't know is you and I are pretty much responsible for keeping track of the Pennsylvania online bracelets.
Right, yeah. And there's one more.
There's one more of those. We'll have awarded 7 bracelets total. And then you'll do an update on all those winners next month in your Pennsylvania update. Yep. Are you leaving soon? Are you in Vegas for a little while yet?
I'm leaving in 2 days. I leave on the 13th.
Any poker for you between now and then?
No, I managed to min cash the 1K mystery bounty this morning. I was hoping to
your first
not
ever
be available for the podcast.
First ever WSOP cash, though, right?
My first ever WSOP cash. I played 3 tournaments, 2 bracelet events, and got 1 cash. So, but yeah, I think I might just take it easy for the rest of the trip and maybe go see a show with my wife or something like that.
Still lots of online bracelets too out there to be earned. So.
True. Yeah, I'm going to play, what was it, the mystery? There's a mystery bounty.
Mystery bounty on Sunday, I think, another one. Those are really fun. I think the online software does a really good job with the mystery bounties. I mean, there's little catches, but I like them. They're fun.
And so you're going to play that? You're going to play anything else live?
I probably play the closer. I'm thinking about maybe that 1K turbo, but I'm just a little tired from it now, so it's like, okay, but there's still more poker. There's still more money to be won. So I'm going to try something. I'm going to play at least one more
Sometimes the
event.
edges just call your name.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, as you're listening and watching this, it is likely day 6 or beyond in the main event. Head on over to PokerNews.com. You can follow our live updates all the way until a winner is crowned. Not only that, you can sweat all the remaining bracelet events. We will be back. Remember, new episodes at 8 a.m. every Tuesday and Friday. So we'll be back next week. We're going to be in the throes. I think it's going to be close to the final table, if not the final table. So it'll be very exciting. Until then, we'll keep a seat open for you.